Welcome back and or to the channel. Trucker Rod here in the S.E.E channel. So how is this looking? We got the laptop to work. Why this isn't coming in? I just want to see here real quick. So stand by. Drop in your comments, opinions, bitches and gripes. Seems like everyone's had their opinion this last week, thinking that tariffs were the boogeyman. All the problems that is in the trucking and the freight recession, and not to be. So I just got done at 6:15. Jack Campbell at Nobody Special just interviewed last Friday. He just posted the interview with Craig Fuller. He just went over the non-domicile, the immigration, and how it's affecting the difference between volume of freight to capacity of trucks and how that is throwing the algorithm off. And he talked about tariffs and how the government can skirt around them if they the Supreme Court finds it unconstitutional. So therefore, they got a section 232 or something like that. I just want to get the lighting the first time. Let's see if we can get more lighting down here. Hey, that's going to work if I can get it in the right spot. So I got all my lights on in here. I can't do any more for what it is. So, yeah. So before we get started, if you can, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow, get things rolling and going here. Things like Jack is doing to interview Craig Fuller. They're going to be things that's going to be going forward with this channel. So let's see if I got you up closer here. Start out the week. I got home the end of last week. Had another long week. I maxed out my hours. Had 2,600 miles in. Like I said, I run regional, and so snow. I want to say every 4 to 6 hours I was out shoveling around my house. 4 to 6 inches of snow every about twice a day, 4 times. Definitely it's breaking my back on living up in the north, that's for sure. But we got down here. I definitely ran. We didn't have no snowstorm this Sunday, but it was the cold temps that really lingered and slowed everything down. I went in Saturday, packed my truck. I turned the bunk heater on just to get some heat. So the truck was kind of warmed up, and it turned off around midnight. I got in the truck. Actually, I got up. I was supposed to get up at 4 a.m. and I got up at 1:30 to go out and clear more snow. And then I got in the truck. It was slow starting. We were down 5 degrees. This week when I get home, the wife said, I don't know, Laura, you're in the chat there. So say hello to Miss Laura. She's our moderator. But we're supposed to be in the negative. But then by Christmas, New Year's, we're supposed to be up. These got up in the 40s and 50s. They said that down here now. I started today. I left Sunday. This is Monday, and it already feels like Tuesday. I'm just about done with my route, and I'll be done tomorrow early afternoon. I left yesterday, got down to Covington at the Loves, stayed there. It was 5 degrees this morning. Truck definitely did not like moving. I was skeptical of running the lift gate at that cold temps. It almost cavitated the oil, foamed it up. But it did work as I progressed down in Roanoke and out. It got warmer through the day. I stopped here. Where am I at? I am at the Double Quick truck stop. And let me get the precise. I want to say ISOM. I've stayed here before. And it's just north of Whitesburg and about 30-40 minutes south of Hazard, Kentucky. I am in eastern Kentucky. Let me see. Double Quick. Yep, ISOM Ism, Kentucky. It's a nice little truck stop, no showers, but they have a kitchen. They have hot food that's made right here. It's not prepackaged, brought in and heated up. And they got this miner's sandwich, really good, because there's a lot of coal haulers pass through here. So, and they probably got about 10, 12, 15 parking spaces. I didn't count them out. It's dark right now, but I'm the only one in the parking lot. So I've stayed here a few other times. Really nice and good area. But following with the immigration and all that, you know, the trucking industry was peaking in 2018, and companies were making good bank. 2019, they started seeing a drop off. They were pulling back. I worked with, because I took a 2-year sabbatical from this company, worked for another one. And with them, they even sat me down and said, because I was a float driver filling in, and they said, we're going to have to cut you out of the system, because there was nowhere to put me, because they were scaling back. In 2019, some of the companies like them and others I saw were just scaling back. They weren't laying off. They weren't bankrupt, but they were scaling back in the sense of taking trucks and drivers off the roads. So instead of having, say, 36 trucks, they're running 30 trucks. So that's what I was seeing. Now we were, that was the start. That was we should have been walking into what we are seeing now in this freight recession, which has started late 2022 into 2023 as we post-COVID. So when we, this should have been happening in 2021 and all that. We should have been feeling all this through the last administration. Yet, what did we all know happened? In 2020, COVID hit. Everything got papered over. Everyone got sent home. They locked the world down. And everyone ordered from home. They went to the hardware. They were doing home improvements. People were shopping online. Freight was moving like the dickens. Container ships were backing up in 2021 like crazy off Long Beach. So, and that was the big, keeping the radar on things was moving the container ships around from Long Beach over to Galveston, to Savannah, up into Baltimore. It was like, at the time, that's where the eye on the prize was, is where's logistics moving to get it into this country. And, that even changed my backhauls for this current company right now. Is I was supposed to be picking up backhauls in another area, and they ended up putting them in Kentucky. And I think I was supposed to run out there in Maryland and pick them up as they dump or somewhere out that way initially, but then things changed up as the freight industry eased up and the ports kind of started flowing better again. Now, with that, we had all that freight moving. Everyone was going out, jumping in the industry, buying trucks. Mileage was going up. $6-7 on some of the freight, and reminiscing back the last 5-6 years. We can't blame tariffs on why we're in this freight recession right now. It's only been 7-8 months that the tariffs have been implemented in, and they haven't been that significant. And anything like that, or the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank, it is not a government. That there's the U.S. Treasury and there's the Federal Reserve, central bank. When they raise rates, lower rates, it takes anywhere from 12 to 18 to 4 months to see the impact, see the movement in the economy. It's the same with tariffs. Whenever you make an economy marker move, it takes 1 to 2 years. And just side note, the stock market, Wall Street, is not the economy. That has nothing to do with the economy. That is the cabal of Ponzi schemes, a casino. That's all your rich people playing with their money. That has nothing to do with the economy. So going back, we saw a peak 2022, February, because I'm reciting everything off my top of my head right now. We saw the inverted yield curve, and then it progressed for quarters after quarter. So you got to have 2 successive quarters to show that you have a negative GDP, which means the economy is in a recession. They papered that over, and they changed the definition. So whatever you were taught in school, throw that away, because the last administration said, nope, this is what it means now, because they wanted to basically see if I can turn this around a little more and bring this up. So they changed the definition of what the recession would be. We were in a recession since that point. And then we hit a CPI, which is a consumer price index. What was it, Laura? My connection is unstable. All right, saying my connection. I'm doing my hotspot, stuff like that. So bear with us. We're finally getting the laptop to work here. So the CPI, when did that peak, Laura? That was 22 at 9.1. We've been hovering around 3 for the last year, and mid 3s to high 2s, but basically this is where they're running it at right now. The neutral safety interest rate. So that being said, 23 we started seeing yellow going under. You started seeing companies bankrupt, closing their doors, leaving drivers stranded, starting in late 22, but mainly 23, 24, and now 25. And it's a freight recession. So to say tariffs are impacting anything in the trucking industry right now is a farce. It's a narrative that the mainstream media and the United States government is trying to sell you on, and that the tariffs are affecting the poor households, and that no, we've been in a recession. These are economic cycles that we go through, and people need to understand that on the Keynesian system of the fiat currency, we go through a 7 to 10 year cycle that we go through a recession for at least 3 years and have at least 7 years of booming economy. Knowing your basic fundamental economics, didn't you know this is part of the game that we are going to be going through with this downturn? Now, remember, a lot of people jumped in 2018 because we were really peaking good then with freight. And a lot of them even jumped in more, or others, as I stated last week, others expanded their fleets, expanded buying more buildings, building new buildings, because, hey, 2018, then 2021, you know what? Hey, things are looking good. It only can, we can only go up, and you should never over leverage. And in a trucking industry, margins are tight, narrow, and anything can make you go bankrupt. I mean, a driver, if you're a company and you have company drivers, that driver goes out and runs over someone, and there's a nuclear verdict on that, you're done, and you're tapped out. So it's things to keep in mind. And of course, with the banks have constricting ever since the bank failure out there in California and Silicon Valley. All these banks are now tightening up, so they're ramping up their ways that you can, I want to say you're able to qualify for a loan. And right now, if things are unshaky in the markets, they're going to make it even harder for you. So you better have good secured assets to even leverage on the banks to expand or do anything within your business. And to say tariffs are gonna, that the companies are, going out of business right now, like manufacturing or that sector, no. Um, and yes, we did have a labor dumping from the last administration. The two problems I had with the last administration, well, with any administration, is lies and propaganda and deception. But speech and the censorship of speech and the open borders. And you'd say, these sanctuary cities, these idiots that say, well, we're going to protect these immigrants. You're harboring a lot of fugitives and criminals, rapists, murderers. And I guess these people don't give two shits, I guess until it hits home. And, with this undocumented, unvetted, non-citizens are working side by side with them, I am not kosher with that. And it's where I will not go out of my way for these folks. I will not help them. I will not converse with them. So call me racist, call me whatever you fucking want, but I don't care. These folks need to come in, be vetted, and be, documented and become citizens. Not to just come in willy-nilly, freely on a non-domicile. And trucking's been easy for them. Why? Because they can just jump in these trucks. They're a rolling house, and they can live in these damn things, make money, and all they're doing is shipping money back to their country. They're not supporting our economy. They're not doing anything for us. But yet, like I said, these sanctuary cities, they harbor these people. They groom them to say, oh, there are new pets, there are friends, and until they're running over. I guess it's all right now. So I guess we should. Oh, tariffs is a boogeyman. So let's ride that rainbow pony to the moon, and and just say, oh, it's killing our economy, and it's okay for the immigrants. Don't look at them as running over school buses and running over us. We'll just not jail them, not imprison them. Oh, they're there now. Slap on the hand. Go on and get back into another company, another truck, because that's the way the government's been handling it, and that's what a lot of these local, I want to say, wherever they're from. If they're from California, Washington, New York, they're letting this shit happen. And if I get, well, my phone is here. There's my hotspot. Just saying my connection's unstable. If it cuts in and out, it's because of that. Yep. So, yeah, it's like we don't want, these people that are running, here's the thing is that one that just happened up in Washington, that's a California non-domicile, non-citizen, undocumented driver. So all of a sudden, it's kind of like your own teammate, Washington and California, your own teammate is now doing harm to you because, all that West Coast states just do everything hand in hand to, terrorize the whole country along with New York and Illinois. So now it's like people's eyes are starting to wake up and say, oh, shit. Yeah, well, even though if you're on the DEI side and, you want to put your little rainbow kids out in the fucking school bus, well, oh, Durka Habib is out there and he fucking don't, and all these guys that have run over people, whether it's been Dayton, Ohio, Chattanooga, Tennessee, where else? This guy, there was one other they pointed out. There was never no brake lights on any cameras they've had on these trucks. They've never seen brake lights. They plowed right into them full speed, nonstop. And I want to say that one in Portage, Indiana, there was no brake lights. And, hey, these guys don't understand anything. You know, these CDL mills popped up under the last administration, so now they're nipping those. And I say good. CDL drivers, you should have 6 to 9 months of training, and that is, you should have at least 3 to 6 months with a trainer. You know, if a guy or gal, if a person is going to go get their CDL and they're getting trained in Arizona, do you think those asshats, you know, just here's your license, congratulations, get in the truck and go? Do you think they got any experience or know what to do this time of the year in the winter across Donner's Pass? To do any, you know, what to do in the Appalachians here when the snowstorms come in and the ice, like even back home, black ice and that. Do you think these guys have any idea on how to handle that? Last week, right up the road here, about 30 minutes, was a truck stop I stayed at 2 weeks ago. I had a Haiti driver, a Haitian, next to me with a snowstorm coming in that night. He was at my door with anxiety. He'd been in the truck for 30 days. He originated out of North Carolina, I think Charlotte. And he goes, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to drive this truck. They never taught me how to drive in the snow. I showed him where the power divider was. I coached him through on what to do to get down the mountain, because we were at the peak there at Kentucky and Tennessee, Kentucky and Virginia, right on the US 23, little truck stop there. And State Line Truck Stop, I think it's called. He said, I want to get this truck back to North Carolina, hand him the keys. I want out. He goes, I didn't realize what I was getting into. And a lot of these guys don't. And it is a hustle and bustle working these big trucks around, and they just think, oh shit, I missed my exit doing U-turns. This isn't the first set of people that have done U-turns. I personally haven't seen it, but there's a lot of folks that now are posting, a lot of semis that are making U-turns in the middle of the highway. Just go to the next exit. Take 5 minutes, go to the next exit, just take the off-ramp, go across, and come back on. I mean, my company preaches it. Don't do anything that will put you in the truck in harm's way or create a fatality. Just go to the next exit. They understand. Things happen. You oversight, your exit number or something like that. You get thinking about things out here, and all of a sudden, oh shit, there goes my exit. A lot of cars do that. They'll swipe right across my front bumper. I had a truck today in Bristol, Tennessee, the first or second exit in the Bristol out of Virginia, and they swiped across, nearly missed the exit. That car had the brakes locked up so bad. I thought for sure they rolled the car because they went into the off-ramp curving around. I thought for sure I was coming up to someone that flipped over, but you could see the marks going across I-81 and all the way up there. They were trying to get that car to straighten out, but he went across 2-3 lanes to do that. Just like, dude, you missed your exit. Just go up to the next one, turn around, and come back. But people would rather kill themselves to make that exit. I don't get it. And but this is the Western nation that we live in, and it is just horrendous anymore. And it's not just these immigrants and the truck driving, but it's also the American folks in their personal vehicles. And it's not getting better. Should we I'm just looking, see if I can get this thing to be a little better at lighting. And I apologize if the lighting's way off. May have to bring another light in at some point. But it's too aggressive of driving out there for many folks, for a lot of us. A lot of us older guys are just seeing a lot of mistakes being made. It's defensive driving for us. We can't ever be on the offense. We just stay in our lane. Now the big thing is I have there is no light on behind me. They're all on. So yeah, there's no light here, Laura. This is it. Yeah, there's nothing here. All the lights are on. I got all my halo lights, every light in here, plus my flashlight. My wife got me this bad boy. I don't like that stroke though, so I don't think this is gonna help any. Let's see if we can yeah. Woo. Turn it to where. Come on, no. Yeah, I know I need to get a halo type. There we go. See if that works any better. So, yeah, the aggressive driving, because the way people are driving aggressively in that, they see these semis drive, and you can just Google how bad it's been as of late. No, there's no bunk lights back there because of the bunk bed. That won't even make an effect because my closet's going to block that light. So it's just going to be pointing to the back wall. So we've got conditioned to now when you see these non-domicile or these immigrants out here just full tilt with no brakes applied, running over vehicles. And it's not because weather conditions or stuff like that. It's the fact that they don't understand on braking and giving yourself like, hey, I see cars stopped ahead, start braking now. My spouse gets very, she gets annoyed with it. She knows I've spent a lot of time in the truck. I can be in the car and I will start braking soon, just like if I was in the truck. And she picks up on that. And it's habit that you just see a stop sign, or you may see water, ice, snow, and you see, vehicle stopped or something. You start, letting out the throttle, start feathering down. It's just things that we do that we've gotten conditioned over time. Now, the one thing they said about the CDL schools and capacity was, getting it. That was the other thing, was the CDL schools being self-certifying and self-accrediting. So no one from the federal government was coming in and saying, yeah, you meet all the criteria to I want to say pump out drivers. So I'm glad they're nipping that. But yeah, like I said, they need to have good classroom, good hands-on instruction, but then they also should be sent out for at least 3 to 6 months of training, not just a week, but enough that someone can be observant. And this isn't the trainer shouldn't be someone that just got into driving 2 years ago and now he thinks he's, jack shit, and then can tell you what to do when he hasn't even experienced everything. Like I won't train anyone. I have good, bad, and indifferent driving techniques and habits, and that's the stuff I've gotten conditioned to over the span of over 5 decades, and I'm not. I've earned it. I've made a lot of bad mistakes in the first 10 years of driving, and I can cherry pick friends, put them on here, which we probably will with one of them. One of my mentors that helped me with heavy haul, he'll tell you that he used to get frustrated with me all the time. But I was 21, 22, learning. Was I running over people, doing stupid shit like we're seeing now? That someone that's only been in it, that comes out here and all of a sudden they create a fatality and they've only been driving for 3 months. So, yeah, everybody that has created a fatality that was an immigrant, the Dayton one, the Chattanooga one, the Washington State one, they have all been released with pending court dates on bonds. But if that was me, I'd never be released. The government is saying good for thee, but not for me type thing. They will persecute, American citizen before an immigrant. We're seeing that trend going on and on and on. And that's why I said, to be prosper or to achieve prosperity, You have to go out and do more than just a W-2 employee working for employer job. You need to get out there and start your own businesses. Um, why don't you be the business owner that employees, runs his own trucking business, manufacturing business, or whatever business it may be? I'm aligning myself up with businesses that I can work, manage, and cash flow from as I move later. What the hell is this guy doing? When I'm 70 and in my 80s. So I can't tell you enough. I don't care about politics. The American government is not here for us. The American government don't give a shit about us. If you're below the 10%, if you're the 90% like myself out here making the grind and paying your bills and just, living, working and living and just keeping your necessities covered, the government don't care about us. We're plebs. They only protect those that, the millionaires, the billionaires. It is a crony capitalist government. And socialism is not going to help it either, because everyone's just going to give up and say no. And to come and take, a hardworking person's assets and disperse it out to others, you'll just create a war, whether it's a revolution, civil war, whatever it may be, but there will be an uprising. So, people think that you can, when there's problems in the economy, that we can politic our way out of it and we can politic our way into prosperity. Politics is not going to do it. We as individuals have to do it. The tax codes are there. It's like Trump and Hillary when they were debating, and she said he didn't pay his taxes, and he goes, "Well, no, I don't have to, because I use the same system you and your cronies that are, billionaires. They're using the tax code set up by the government, so therefore, they can buy assets, write-offs, depreciation values, cost segregation, whatever it may be, and reduce or zero out their tax bill. People do that all the time when they're in business. That's part of being in business, write-offs and reducing your tax bill. The biggest, the people that pay the most, the proponents of the tax-based system, is the W-2 employees. So if you're getting a W-2, you are the majority, you're the highest taxpayer in the country, because you're paying it out of your income taxes. Now, if tariffs are going to work, and when he introduced those in his rhetoric while he was running, I said, all right, but you got to offset it. And the only way I saw that was going to benefit us, the 90%, was that he's going to have to eliminate income tax and eliminate property tax. That would definitely help people prosper and not have to kill themselves out here. Then tag on the tariffs, because a lot of these assets we could do without. But to have to get rid of the income tax and the property tax, to own your own house, and to have your full paycheck that you worked your ass off for, instead of giving that money to people that are just going to pocket it themselves. That's all the American government. It doesn't matter which side it is, Democrat, Republican. That's what I'm talking about. When I say the American government, I don't give a shit about either side. I'm independent. I want to see the ideology of how they're thinking and how they want to articulate, from administration. But overall, we can't politic our way, for us. It's not going to help us to be any better. I mean, the cost of everything is going up faster than all of us are making. Wages will never keep up. And they knew this when they took us off the gold standard in 1971, that inflation was just going to keep going up and people were going to get priced out. That's all by design. And even if Trump, even though he talked about getting rid of income tax and all that, the one thing that everyone said is it doesn't freaking matter if you get rid of it now. Unless you get rid of the 16th Amendment, which is the value tax, if you get rid of that, then you can nip it. Otherwise, do away with it now. The next administration comes in, because you got to remember, it may be a temporary fix now, but you got to remember future administrations are going to come in. They may re-implement it on anything, any bill, any policy, anything that's phased in or phased out. Policies, laws, what have you. So at some point, you got to take a stand. You got to be a strong American, stand up for your freedoms and your rights, and throw your voice out there. Now you say, well, my voice can't be heard, with 1 in 350 million people in this country or some shit like that. But take, for instance, this Thursday night, these data centers are popping up all over the country, and it's a locus. It's a locus of, they're going to tap into the water and the electrical grid to run these, which means the taxpayer base around there, their tax bills, their electric bills, they've seen go up 265% in some places, and of course, tapping into their water. Well, we're where we live, the Great Lakes. Yeah, they want to put this damn shit in there because they can siphon off the damn Great Lakes. But they're having a township meeting because they want a section. Yes, I know my connection's unstable because I'm down in the valley. So yes, we're gonna go to this town hall meeting, and yeah, I'm gonna voice my opinion on it. I want a data center. We don't need it. People think AI is gonna come in and cure cancer and all that. I got a question for people. If Pfizer's been in business for 150 years, which they have, and they push their effing pills, why haven't they found a cure in 150 years on any disease? It's amazing how none of that's happened. Healthcare in this country is the biggest pile of garbage I've ever seen. And I went to school to be a chiropractor of sports medicine, but not to work in a healthcare. But because I fell back on my bachelor's degree and worked in healthcare for 10 years, I said I'd never go back. I would rather be doing this. And yes, why am I driving truck? That was a comment. Because I'm making 3 times more annually than I was working in healthcare. I was on an RN, a nurse's wage, an RN wage pay scale when I worked between the cath lab, stress testing, and cardiac rehab. So I bounced all around different departments, but as a tech in the cath lab. So with that said, yeah, I was making RN wages, but it's not enough. I mean, I'm making 3 times that, unless you're an RN that specializes as like a nurse practitioner, and what's the other big one, Laura? The nurse anesthesiology or something like that. They make 6 figures. And that's the way healthcare is going, is either physician assistants or nurse practitioners. You're going to see more of those working under a doctor's license. And because my wife sees a lot of those folks, and she'll tell them, you know what, I need to see the doctor directly, not one of your flunkies. And I'm more in a naturopathic sense, and I just won't see a Western medicine doctor. I've got thrown out twice in offices just because I debate them, and I just basically, at the end of the day, I think one of them called security on me just to get me out of there. Because I told them, I said, you're nothing but a pill pusher, and they are. They have lowered the LDL for cholesterol because people have been running a healthier life. So now they lowered the bar on LDL. So now if you, instead of your LDL cholesterol, your bad cholesterol's here, now if it's here, they lowered the numbers. you got bad cholesterol, you need to take statins, you need to take cholesterol meds. They're going to do that. They're going to change the goalposts all the time to keep pushing their pills to make for profit. Healthcare, since the Obamacare came in, thanks to all that crap from the Bush to the Obama and pushing the Obamacare, that's just downright health insurance, healthcare, pharmaceuticals. They just want you sick and or dead. So you think, is the government here for us? No. And I could give a shit less about the United States government as far as, will they do anything for me? No, they'll do anything. They'll do me dirty. And that's just what they'll do to a lot of small businesses. They've been doing it right along. So if you're not in the big boy club, as George Carlin said, then you're out. You're expendable. And that's what the 90% of Americans are that aren't in that 10% elite club. That's, multimillionaires and or billionaires, is that we're expendable. We can be tested on with vaccines. Why do you think good for thee but not for me type attitude when they pushed all the vaccines during COVID? You don't think those fuckers, Biden took his COVID shot? No, he didn't. They probably just, that was all smoke and mirrors and for theater. Look at all these people taking their shots. Bullshit. I bet you none of them took the damn booster or any of those shots. But just to propaganda and push that, because under the Emergency Act, if you died from the vaccine, Pfizer and Moderna, they were all protected to not get sued by the Emergency Act. So, it's like you can go out and look for a boogeyman all you want, but for me, I live in the realistic world of what I see around me and see what's happening every day. I don't take anything from mainstream media, and I definitely don't take anything from Washington, D.C. is any more than Looney Tune cartoon theater. And you need, and I can't preach that enough, you need to build your own ecosystem of your economy and protect yourself. If you're comfortable just working a W-2 job, then that's fine. But run it as a business and keep your ecosystem tight so you can continue to survive through inflation and or economic downturns. We will have economic downturns. These are cycles we go through, and people just don't get it. And don't look at the stock market, because that's not the economy. So GDP and layoffs and CPI. I mean, you go to the Federal Reserve, the Fed, and look over all their charts. That's the data that they make their interest rates determination from. And even in the housing market, you got to be diligent and know where to look. But to look at anything on that East Coast is just theater and smoke and mirrors. To me, and to wrap it up, is like that data center thing going on that's coming up that we're going to. It's like, hey, don't come and rape and pillage us in our community. You guys are already doing that to Venezuela and Somalia and Syria. Our government is, they back all their treasury bonds with violence. They go in and they rape and pillage countries. Iraq, they're just nefarious for that. If you want to build data center, go to one of those countries you stole, rape and pillaged for their oil and minerals and all that, and just put your data centers there. And but yeah, that's gonna be one of my talking points, because I don't know. We're in a time that critical thinking needs to be really implemented more. People need to quit looking at headline news and or dependent on AI to write their papers or essays, do their research. I think it's best that we all just pull research from different areas, articles from different sources, and connect the dots. And once you connect the dots, then you build your road to see, this is what they're up to. This is what their plan is. And then, you know what that's called? conspiracy theory. And then with that, people are like, oh, you're a tinfoil guy, And I'm like, well, hey, I just keep to myself. I keep my ecosystem tight, and I don't share stuff. I'll put stuff out here on YouTube because the wife said there's no sense talking to people because it's a trigger point, any more than talking politics, because people are just tunnel vision, narrow-minded. And I'm like, if politics is leading you to your prosperity, have at her, Haas. You do you, man. Ride that pony to the moon. But I will never look to politics, a politician, or anything of that sense to ever be prospered. I'm going to do that on my own, or hey, maybe take a chance and throw $5 at the lottery. But I got a better chance of winning the lottery than I do of a politician or politics to ever help me. So, but anyhow, folks, I'm going to sit down and eat. I've had 2 rough days. I pushed 80% of my stops. I only got 3 stops left tomorrow, and I'm wrapped up. Heading back, I've got a dental appointment Thursday afternoon, and the wife's got a medical procedure on Friday, so I took some time for that. So I'll be back Wednesday morning. And last but not least, I want to make a reply to the one comment was, why am I in trucking? Why? Because I'm good at it. I started out in heavy haul at 21 years old, hauling CAT equipment over dimensional loads. I don't need to know what fucking tariffs are to fucking drive a truck. I already know it's just smoke and mirrors. And if you think it's decimating the manufacturing right now in this country, you're wrong. Give it 12 months. So April. So I would say by tax season in the summer, then any tariffs that were implemented last spring, you will start seeing some of it resonating. But it's not the reason why we're in a freight recession. And I'm good at what I do. Boss lady says, yeah. She goes, I wish I had 10 more of you, because, hey, at 59 years old, as of tomorrow, my birthday, I'll be 59. I'm still getting back there and slinging 200 and 400 pound pieces of product by hand. And, so I'm still grunting and driving truck and getting through the snowstorms. I'm not making excuses. I never make excuses for coming to work and doing my work. But I'm good at it. I make good money at it. Do I want to do it forever? Absolutely not. The one thing about trucking is if you get in it, don't look at it as a lifelong career. 5 to 10 years, you better have an exit strategy to getting out. Moving into warehouse management or educating yourself to get into another field. But trucking should never be the end all be all. This is my career path. Being that sunken in stage 4 cancer guy hanging on the steering wheel. That's not trucking. I went 12 years the first time, then went to school to be a doctor. And I was halfway through the program when I had to drop out. And I've got my reasons why. It wasn't nothing bad, like I wasn't making the grade. I was actually accelerating very well in it. I worked in healthcare for 10 years, so don't tell me that, being a welder, mechanic, and a truck driver trades and then going into healthcare that I couldn't make the grade there. I did. I got laid off. Consulting firm came in. I was on the second phase. They went top down. Upper administration got let go first. 3 months later, I was next on the chopping block, me and my other colleagues. And so, I pivoted, went into sports rehab, did that for 10 months, got let go there because we were coming out of the GFC, global financial crisis. Yes, that was a recession, 2008 to 2012. So with the wife having medical problems and all that, I came back into trucking because I kept my CDL, kept my mechanic's license, and I worked as equipment operator, heavy equipment mechanic, and I did that getting myself through college and even as a side hustle while I was working at the hospital, because again, as I said, I was on RN wages. It wasn't enough. 50, 60,000, that's about a good entry level where you're going to start trucking. That's peanuts anymore. That's shit. That is nothing. And there's opportunities to make way more than that out here. And again, why am I driving truck? because I'm making 6 figures a year, dumbass, as a company driver. And hey, with my company, I also have the opportunity, they pay my health insurance. So there you go. And, hey, I got a sweet deal going on. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're pissed off and you got to take out your rants on me. Or maybe you're just a bot from, Xi Jinping from China that, oh, heavens, tariffs are killing the China economy. China's shooting their own asses in the foot, dumbasses over there. That's what communism does for you. So, if you want to know what it's like, if you think the grass is greener over in socialism and communism, please, by all means, go spend a year in one of those countries and just take it all in and see how it's like to work in Russia. Because I've watched YouTube channels in the day and still currently subscribe to some. If you're a truck driver, you're on a salary. If you're a healthcare worker, you're on a salary. So for them, it's the ruble. So let's say a construction worker, they'll get 1,000 rubles a month. But if you educate and get training and become, say, a nurse, then maybe you'll get 1,200 or 1,500 rubles a month. The government dictates what you will get paid in that job field. There's no free market. The government tells you what you will get paid. No more, no less, no overtime. So even if you work, if your 1,500 rubles a month is for 40 hours and you're working 70, the mindset over there is they do the very least as possible during a work day. They do not bust ass. And you think otherwise, there's one YouTuber thinks he's going to go over and find prosperity over in Russia. I'm like, dude, have at it. You have no fucking idea what you're getting yourself into, but go for it. I mean, yes, you can assimilate into that society and be okay if you like living that way, but I've got the means, the education in the way, and the drive to be better than that. And that's why people come here. They come here to better themselves, to give them and their family a better life. But it don't come here and say, I don't want to become a citizen. I'm just going to come here illegally, make all this money, and they're shipping it back. All the non-domicile, non-citizen workers in this country are shipping all their money back to the motherland. They're not keeping it for themselves here. They're not a taxpayer base. So take that all into consideration. Do critical thinking. Look into things. Just don't take the headline, don't be a headliner, news article reader and say, well, that headline said that, but did you pull the layers back and read into that? Like I said, read a Bloomberg article, but the sweet potato into that is the last paragraph of every Bloomberg article. So that's all I got for you this week, folks. So, if my critics want to keep coming at me, come at me. I don't care, man. I know I'm on the right path. I've got more spiritual. This last year, I have, tightened up my ecosystem at home to be very more diligent. We haven't gone out to eat in what has it been, a year and a half now? We don't go to a restaurant. We don't go out to entertainment, movies, and all that. The last thing I want to do is throw my hard-earned money at felons, murderers, and rapists that play professional sports in this country. I won't support them. I don't support that, and I don't support entertainers that call themselves musicians that use auto-tune. So I don't even buy into that crap. Comedian, I will. So if they can make me laugh, thumbs up to you guys. But to the rest of them, no, I won't throw no money, nor will I spend time rotting my brain on that crap. So, hey, but if you're in the sports and you want to do that and slam back a cylinder and just say you've worked your 40 hours and you're tired, hey, you do you, man. But when you look out your bay window and wonder why your neighbor's prospering, because he's not sitting down and doing that on Sundays or Saturdays, but they're actually using that free time from their 9 to 5 to do something more, don't criticize them. Don't criticize me. Everybody's got an opportunity out here in the free market to prosper. So that's what it's like being in America. is you're able to start a business and become a millionaire. If Elon Musk can do it and Jeff Bezos can do it from nothing to something, otherwise if they didn't have the drive, they'd be right in with the rest of us as a pleb. So until next time, folks, stay safe, continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught, and we will see you in the next video.